y'all, what is going on? I know it's been a minute since y'all seen me. I have been busy trying to prepare to get ready to go back to school. And then also I've been working on a lot of things behind the scene. Um, I'm still with Own It magazine, still a contributor. I'm still working on virtual assistant, so I still have a couple of clients that I'm working with, as well as homeschooling. Well, actually, my daughter just transitioned back into in-person learning, so I'm super excited about that, especially um, with me attending school. So that's what this video is all about. Me preparing to go back to college. So yeah, about that. As you all know, I've spoken about it before in my previous videos of the time that I spent away from college. I have about 6 year gap. When I started online, and of course, life happened. I had my daughter, got married, things transitioned and changed and all of those things. So here I am, 2021, single mom and a college student, sophomore, starting at Winston-Salem State University in North Carolina. I am super excited. Yeah, I'm just super excited. I don't even know how else to put it into words, y'all, but your girl back in school. Anyway, I just wanted to make a video. As you all know, I've told you from the jump that I will be basically vlogging, kind of like video journaling, my different journeys. Y'all know I stay and I live by living outside the box. So there is so much that I do. Um, I'm not just a licensed hairdresser. I'm not just a college student. I'm not just a mom. I'm a writer, content creator, influencer, all of those different things wrapped up into one. That's me. That's me. So, with that being said, I wanted to run down though, like my mental headspace actually preparing to go back to college as a sophomore, finally in my major, mass communications. I love everything about it. One day I want to be either a writer, I want to be producer, director, I want to be on somebody's TV set, movie set, sitcom, whatever it is. That is like the ultimate goal. And so preparing myself, also my daughter, for this transition of mommy being back in school. My first semester is online, so it does give me flexibility, especially being an entrepreneur. It definitely gave me a lot of flexibility. And then also being a single mom, and my daughter was doing homeschooling. Thank God that I was able to get her back in person learning. So um, I went through a lot of different changes and also prioritizing just to get ready for this journey. So, one of the biggest challenges that I had was being able to set boundaries, which is something that I've struggled with basically all my life. I had a hard time setting boundaries with people. I was definitely a people pleaser for so many years. I just wanted to make sure that I could do whatever I could to help everybody else, to make sure everybody else was getting what it was that they needed from me. And within the last 2 years, I've really been trying to change my mindset and really focus in on me, my daughter, the things that we really need, and prioritizing. And so when I thought about how I could really prepare to go back to school, setting boundaries was the biggest one on my list. So, anytime you are a person that commits to so much or you do so much, there always comes a point in time where you have to start cutting things off. And so that was one of the biggest challenges that I had for this process, is really putting into perspective the things that I needed to take this journey into re-entering college. And so I had to turn down a lot of commitments. I had to cut off some commitments, and just really refocus and restructure my day to day. And so even with that, because I'm an entrepreneur, a lot of times my day didn't start until about 7 a.m. when I would be getting my daughter up and ready for school and things of that nature. But now that I'm back in school, I've incorporated 3 extra hours in the beginning of my day. So now I am up at 4 o'clock, and that allows me time first to have that time to pray my daily devotion, those things, and then also incorporate and work out in that, because I'm gonna need every outlet that I possibly can get, with making sure that my mental but also my physical stays intact. Um, we all are work in progress. We all are working on different things. And so those two things are very major to me, is my spirituality, my relationship with God, and then also working on my physical. I want to be very healthy and continue on that journey. And if you don't know, and if you're just tuning in for the first time, I back in 2019, I changed my lifestyle to a ketogenic lifestyle. So I began following the keto diet that they say, and I changed, the way that I was eating and the things that I was doing, and I had great results. I lost over 60 plus pounds. Of course, during 2020 and quarantine, I gained some of the weight back, not all of it. Thank goodness, not all of it. However, the goal is to get back to pursuing my goal weight. And so those were things that I had to really put into play to prepare to go back to school. Also, creating space for my daughter, because again, I'm still a mom. So I had to have a conversation with her and basically make her aware of the changes that would be happen, so that if I have to stay and study on something, or if I have to reprioritize the time that I would usually spend with her doing a fun activity, that she's made aware of it, so that she doesn't think that mommy is just like neglecting her or not giving her that time, but she would know that I'm working towards a bigger goal. And so I did have that conversation with her. And luckily, my daughter's a sweetheart. She's a lot like her mom. So she's very understanding. And then even for me to make sure that I don't use that as an excuse, but I'm still incorporating time for the both of us. With being an entrepreneur, I then had to, reach out to my clients, because I do a virtual assisting. And so I had to reach out to them and basically, set up those boundaries as well. Because one thing people do know about me when they encounter me, they know that any way I can help, I will help. And a lot of times that means no specific timing. Whenever you need me, you call on me, I'm there. And so, with taking the new journey, I had to make sure that I let people know that that no longer stood. Like, I had to make sure that I was intentional in my conversations, and also letting them know, I'm not neglecting you. It's just new things that are taking place, and I have to make sure that I'm intentional with everything that I do, make sure that I'm prioritizing correctly, and also just make sure that I am still putting myself first, even in everything that I do. I've realized over the last few years, if I do not do those things, that I, in the end, leave very empty, very dissatisfied, and I wind up um, going into a place of like kind of depression because I realize that I'm doing so much for everybody else, but I'm not fulfilling anything that I want to fulfill, or fulfilling any of my goals, but I'm helping everybody else fulfill theirs. So if you know, or if you can identify with that, one of the biggest advices that I would give is definitely prioritizing self. It doesn't matter if it's just taking 5 to 10 minutes to yourself. It helps. It makes a difference. I started there, and now it it's changed how I see everything. And so, of course, you're going to get a lot of backlash. Of course, people are not going to understand. Of course, there are some relationships that may, um, you know, not succeed in you trying to reprioritize your life. It comes with the territory. A lot of times, if people understand you as a person, but also if people have been there and seen somewhat of your journey, those who are for you will be for you. And those who don't necessarily understand is nothing against them. Um, they just may not be in a place to receive the change. And sometimes that happens. Anyway, I don't even know how I got there, but these are all the things that I had to do to prepare to go back to school. And so I'm very excited about that. So I definitely had to set boundaries. I had to reprioritize. I had to make sure that I included my daughter within that process. I had to make sure that as an entrepreneur, I spoke up, and talked to my clients, also speaking to customers, also putting systems in place so that my business could still run without me necessarily having to have hands on. That's very important. Make sure that you always have some types of systems running, whether it is scheduling your social media posts, scheduling meetings, anything that you need. If you're lucky enough to have an assistant or have a team, that's even better. I don't have that luxury at this time, not yet. So for me, having systems in place was so, so, so important. And so I began implementing systems like a month ago, just to prepare for this. And so those things are very important. I hope that this video helped. Um, Anybody, if you're taking a journey like me, anytime you have any transitions, y'all know I don't like the word change. We don't like the word change. We don't like the word change. I don't like change. However, transitions, we could do transitions. Anytime you have any transitions, there's always a time for you to recalibrate and for you to reprioritize. And basically, those are all the things that I had to do to prepare for this. Now, I will be back in a couple of weeks, because even though we go into situations and we prepared, we planned as much as we possibly can, there's always things that come up, and we always have to sometimes go back to the drawing board just to make sure that the things that we put in place in the beginning still stands, um, after actually going through the process. Again, I don't start school until tomorrow. So I'm going to do a follow-up video so y'all know whether or not the things that I put into play actually worked. Um, because, like, again, life happens. And so we can plan all we want to, but things happen, and then you have to change. And, change. You have to transition things. So I'll be back with a follow-up video after a couple of weeks. But anyways, y'all, like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget, I will be posting some out of the box um video soon. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that because I'm definitely living outside the box. I'm definitely living outside the box. Y'all stay tuned.